The whole folder. It goes Comarts or some shit.
It's all coming to you.
And I mailed it that to him too in the box.
Nice. All right, let's welcome everybody back to another episode of 217 South Mills.
Brought to you by Cabin Coffee Altoona, located at 2922 Meadowlark Lane, and also brought to you by Pizza Del Rey.
Our favorite pizza place in Wisconsin.
Absolutely.
Can't beat it.
All right. Hey, we got a lot to talk about today.
We do.
Our trip to Pennsylvania is top priority. So I'm excited, looking forward to this.
Should we start off with the good news, talking about the trip, or the bad news?
No.
Good news first.
I think we throat punch the people right off the bat and then let them recover with some laughter afterwards.
So hit them with the bad news right away?
Right off the bat.
All right. So we had the best hour and 41-minute podcast with Dave Costa in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in his house. We had the best lighting we've ever had. We had the best video we've ever had. Everything sounded great. We had 3 headsets, 3 microphones. We made it work. We didn't think it'd work in his house. We were trying for different locations. Those locations didn't work. His house worked best. It ended up looking beautiful.
Yep.
When we get back to Wisconsin, we have no audio.
Not one freaking syllable of audio. And just a couple, 3 guys sitting there just moving their lips.
I even thought for a minute being an asshole and doing a silent movie. Just being like, look at these 3 handsome fellas and just watch them move their mouths. But the stories that were told that day at that table, just the reminiscence and the memories, they were so good. And I felt so bad. I know you felt bad. Like, to me, I felt bad because I'm more of the audio guy. Like you always say IT. And it was just like, we still don't know today what happened. Was there something pushed on the computer? Was there something with the soundboard? We're learning. It was a mess up. We learned. Measure twice, cut once, do another audio check, make sure it's being recorded.
I fired my IT guy, and then nobody wanted to do it, so I had to bring him back.
I appreciate that too. Yeah, very much appreciate it. But all right, let's get into what Pittsburgh had all involved. So first off, we drove roughly 11 hours.
Yep.
Left Eau Claire, Wisconsin. 11 hours, ended up in Pittsburgh. And for the most part, it was a good drive. We had a little traffic in Chicago, but not too bad. Once you get to Ohio, Indiana, straight shots, just flying. And arrived out in Pittsburgh, had a nice fire. And right away in Pittsburgh, I probably haven't smoked a cigar since I was playing football back in the early 2000s. And right away, Dave's into cigars, and he's like, you guys want a cigar? And a cigar at the campfire.
And that was
first night there.
Honestly, I can tell you I've never had a good cigar, but I don't smoke them either. Every one I've ever had was
Swisher Sweets.
Backwoods, which are fine.
Yeah.
Has a couple of the it's a boy, it's a girl.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But to me, it's always like smoking a chicken bone. It doesn't taste good to me. Yep. But he had some smooth cigars there.
Some good ones. Ooh. You could tell he takes care of his humidor.
Yes, he does.
They were all the cigars were good. None of them were dried out, anything like that. But yeah, great time. The next day, Dave had to work, and we ended up going to. Dave is currently working as a fireman. Yep. When he got done with Wisconsin, went to the pros for a year or two, made a roster, bounced around a little bit, then went to Canada for 5 years, 7 years,
7 years,
5 to 7 years, something like that in Canada. Came back. I think he wanted to be a fireman. Couldn't get it. There weren't openings as a fireman. Right. Went to work as an EMS person because that was like that step up to a fireman, and became a fireman. So he was working a 12 or 18-hour shift while we had the luxury.
Okay, let's stop right there.
All right.
You can't say working 12 or 18-hour shift because
he was on shift.
He was on shift. Okay, again, this is that firefighter cop thing going on here. Okay.
Yeah. I hear you.
I worked the street, man. Like I was out there doing the things in the car, doing the investigations, being proactive. Trying to just be visible and prevent crimes and stop them from happening. Okay, that is. So when you say 18 hours, you paint that picture like there they are, toiling away.
Just for 18 hours.
No, not
till the water runs out.
Come on.
But Dave showed us around.
Yes, he did.
Part of me goes, The lounges I loved. They were dark. They had recliners. They had couches.
They had TVs. They had several lounge places.
Several lounges. Huge kitchen.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah.
Any big guy's going to love that. But then the locker room.
Okay.
I had a locker room that I'd put up there when I was a freshman. It was probably built in the 70s. I'd put up for like one of the worst locker rooms ever. Yeah. Doesn't hold a grain of salt.
Well, it was built in the 1800s.
Yeah.
That firehouse was built in the 1800s. And it was, I mean, the history there in that building alone was unbelievable. He showed us some of the things like, hey, back in the day, this is where they used to dry their dry hoses from the top, so they get mildew and rotted. And I was like, okay, so some of the nostalgia was definitely still there.
It definitely was. And I think it was updated around 1910, so it does have some updates to it. But that locker room, I was like, oof. These guys they're earning their money in the locker room at least. I'm just saying that they don't have high-end locker rooms.
Okay, yeah.
They don't.
That's fine. So, you know what? But again, I worked 24 hours last night. No, you watched 14 movies, okay? And you played the PlayStation for okay, I'm sorry. Well, I don't know what video game. I have no idea what's out there. Yeah, but I mean, let's go. Come on.
All right. Well, after that though, now it comes into food because this trip we're trying to be healthy. We're trying to watch what we, but you can't go on a trip without eating good food.
We shit the bed. There's no way we did not eat healthy.
We did, but you can't avoid. How do you go to a good city and avoid good food?
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like it's almost disrespectful to the food.
Yep.
So the first place we went to was, and this was based on Rocco Costa, Dave's son, Rocco, his number one choice. It was Pepe's in Pittsburgh.
And by the way, shout out to Rocco and his friend. Super, like, mature kids.
I was just
like, holy mature. Crap.
Yes.
Like, I wasn't that mature at that age. Like, I mean, this Rocco and his friend, man, had their stuff together.
Yes.
It's phenomenal.
Just carrying the conversation, offering to pay, all that stuff. Very, very good, mature kids. But so here was Rocco's recommendation that we both went with, and I'd hate to have gone with anything differently.
Yes.
Pepe's Roethlisberger, named after Ben Roethlisberger, the former quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pepe's Roethlisberger number 7, which is on a hoagie bun, sausage, burger patty, egg, and American cheese. And I didn't think much of it when I read it on the menu, but holy shit.
And you ordered the Cajun fries for us, too.
And we got Cajun fries as well. So, yes. And I didn't know what those were going to be like either. Right. It was just like, you know what, let's try something.
Yep.
And holy cow, it knocked us on our asses.
And then those Cajun fries made it into my Roethlisberger.
Oh, you got to.
You got to. It was phenomenal.
Because we already knew the second place we were going to, which includes fries. So it's like, when we're at Pepe's, like, we're not going to eat the sandwich.
Yep.
And then dip the fries in ketchup or ranch or whatever. It was just eat them plain.
Very good.
You got to put them on the burger. Yes. Very, very good. Then the second place the next day.
Okay, I want to go back to that.
Oh, go ahead.
Like, that was like walking into a time capsule itself. I mean, that was an old school looking, like you order, you see the cook right behind the counter, like making the food right
straight
there.
Up diner.
Yeah, straight up diner. Absolutely.
Yes.
And, kind of that, you don't find that much anymore. We're all trying to get fancy and but that was just a typical...
And talking to us nonstop.
Yeah.
Like, even the cook was coming to our table, like, how do you like the food? Like, as we're mid-bite.
Like I was there, 14 times. It was my first time being there.
Exactly.
It was unbelievable.
Exactly. So, the next day, we're hanging out with David Knight, but the next day, we go to Permani's.
Yep.
And I'm probably going to get yelled at saying this wrong. Permani Brothers. And we had the sandwich. And this was famous to me as a kid. I saw this first watching a Pittsburgh Pirates game on TV while I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania. It was basically a sandwich that all I knew was it had coleslaw on the sandwich, which I didn't like, and French fries. And I was like, I love French fries. I was like, maybe both of them together, like a negative and a positive, make two positives.
No, it's supposed to be a negative and a negative.
I know, but I'm just saying, to me, fries were a positive, coleslaw was a negative.
I get it.
So you choose your choice of protein. There's fries, there's coleslaw, and whatever else you want on it. Lettuce, tomato, onion, whatever. You could get a burger. You could get I think I had ribeye or roast beef on mine, I think. And I think you went with burger. But just absolutely awesome. You know, like, and I think people, until you do it, you don't understand how good it is having fries and coleslaw on your sandwich. And it's freaking huge, but all those flavors.
Messy eating, couldn't get my mouth around it, type of thing. Like, it was phenomenal.
That was another place, though. Those waitresses didn't stop talking.
No.
It was just nonstop. What do you think of it? You like it? Is this your first time here? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, nonstop. Very awesome customer service. Everybody was on top of it.
Makes you feel welcome, and they don't even know who you are. But super great place.
Absolutely. So let's touch on the podcast for a little bit. So I felt horribly wrong that the podcast didn't make the air. A lot of people asked, like, I thought you were going out of town. Where the podcast at? Well, as we said at the beginning, the audio didn't come through. But part of that podcast, you know, the stuff we talked about with Dave, the memories of 217 South Mills. Awesome. We always say on this podcast that me by myself, I can remember 20%, 30%. Me and you together, we piece it together a little bit more. With Dave there was like more pieces were coming together, and there were just so many good stories. We really wished they would have made
the hour and 41 minutes flew by.
Yes.
Like, it was like the least amount of time that we had to work in a conversation. It was just like, holy crap. You realize we'd be going for an hour and 40 minutes. It was just
absolutely. We were done. We didn't know if we were short or if the recording stopped and we kept talking.
Correct.
We were just having a fun time talking with them. So that was awesome. But then we left Pittsburgh, and we had not told my family we were planning on traveling to Scranton. So it was all a surprise for my mom, my sister, all that family. I did have my cousin, Kristen Arcuri Cole, help me out with organizing it a little bit with where my sister was.
What was that name again?
Kristen Arcuri, Gino's daughter.
Okay.
Gino's daughter, Kristen Arcuri, but her married name is Cole now.
Gotcha.
So I was trying to be respectful, throwing the Cole on there for Andy. But Kristen Arcuri helped out a ton, which I respect and appreciate. But yeah, so we drive from Pittsburgh to Scranton, which a lot of people that aren't from Pennsylvania think like, oh, it's not that far, but it's a solid 5+ hours to get from one side to the other. We go in the Price Chopper where my sister was working, and we'll start off here that she works customer service. Where do we go first?
Customer service desk.
Customer service desk. There was nobody there.
There was nobody there.
Nobody there.
Nope.
I go, maybe they're on a break. Maybe she's had a long day. Maybe my sister's taking a nap. I didn't know. Maybe Tylenol had a headache.
Maybe.
And she needed to take a nap.
Maybe.
So we go to the next door that says employees only, and I start knocking on it. Because I'm back in my hometown. I feel like I can do what I want. I'm just knocking on employee only's doors. Nobody's answering. Like nobody's home. It's like everybody left town. Finally, a Price Chopper employee came up to us and realized who I was. That was Laura's brother. So she starts looking for her. Goes in 2 rooms, can't find her.
Nowhere to be found.
Turns out Laura, we think, it's not verified, but we think she was taking a short power nap on a couch before an important meeting was about to happen. And she was awoken to the employee to let her know about me prior to the time she was supposed to be awoken for the meeting. And she woke up, saw me.
And I almost heard a little bit of yelling from town hall, like, I'm the boss. Why are you waking me up? You know the routine.
I heard an F word, too. Why the F are you waking me up? And I was like, hey, whoa, easy.
Your customer service.
Exactly, You don't need to be using those words.
No, not even a little bit.
But she was excited to see us. Very overjoyed. A little bit of tears.
Very emotional. It was a very nice moment. I should have captured it on video, but I did not. So
you did.
It's all right. I just didn't.
But so then we go from there to say, let's go surprise my mom.
Absolutely.
Which we didn't know where Laura worked, but we figured it out. I think off of Find My or whatever on the iPhone. But my mom, I knew her address, and I said to my sister, I go, hey, give us a heads up on when she's leaving to return to her house. So we pull on a side street facing my mom's house, and my mom pulls in, we back up. My mom goes in the house, we pull up, my mom comes out the front door, we pull back.
Because she was watering a plant.
She's watering her plants. She goes in the house, I pull back up, then she comes back out again, I think I pull back again, then she goes in the house, I finally pull up, I'm like, I got to go in and stop her before she gets upstairs, and hindsight, she saw a black truck pulling up, moving back, pulling up, moving. We're like predators in the neighborhood trying to be there as a surprise. But she was also very overwhelmed, very excited to see us.
Cabin Coffee Altoona, located at 2922 Meadowlark Lane in Altoona, Wisconsin. Hey folks, we are a roastery. We buy our beans green from all over the world and roast right here on site. It's better than the stale, burnt, brown flavor water that you're used to. So stop on by. And we stopped and got pizza, if you recall.
We did.
We brought pizza.
We got pizza from Coloruso's that we brought to my mom's house.
Okay,
yeah.
So, I think that Wisconsin has good people. I'm going to, concede here, okay? I've never had a crust before that was so light and airy like a pillow. And I don't think I'm ever going to be able to duplicate that crust ever again. It was phenomenal. It was.
Everybody, thank you very much for tuning in to 217 South Mills. We'll be back in about a month or two.
It was kidding. It was phenomenal.
Awesome.
However,
Yep.
We ordered sausage, Bill.
I know.
If you remember.
And I said,
it's either pepperoni or cheese. This is documented on a podcast.
Yes, it is.
That nobody ever orders sausage. No, you have to have the cheese or the pepperoni. And lo and behold, we got sausage, Bill, didn't we?
We did. And I'm just going to be honest with you. You are correct. I'm giving you.
I want you to say you are right.
I'll say you are right.
Thank you.
But I never. What I will say, until you came to Scranton, I never ordered sausage on a pizza ever in my life.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
I didn't even know they had it available. And some of them we ordered sausage at we ordered plain, but we also ordered sausage at every place we went to. And it was amazing the different types of sausage places gave.
Yep.
Some of them were ground, some of them were hot, spicy chunks, which we like those chunks of sausage on the pizza. And it was amazing. It changed my view of Scranton pizza, which I already had at the highest.
Right.
You could have it, but it was very, very impressive.
It was very good. I really liked it. And I also want to comment too, the last time I was in Scranton, we were in college, and I think me and Dave and you rode together. Yep. We dropped you off at night. We arrived in Scranton at night. We went out with some of your friends, and then we went home, slept, and then hit the road, me and Dave, early in the morning to go to his hometown.
Yeah.
And so I never saw the landscape of Scranton. It never dawned on me. And I tell you what, it is a beautiful place, surrounded by the rolling hills and just green. And it was, I never would have thought that from the way you described it. But it was very nice. It was a beautiful city. I really enjoyed my time there. And beautiful.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I was glad that you had the opportunity to come back with me just to experience it. And, with all the experiences I've had in Wisconsin, for you to be able to experience a little bit of, my hometown and then the culture of it, like the food, the family, stuff like that, which I'll jump down and we'll go back up. We did experience a lot of pizza, but I'll go down and then come back up. I think the second day we were there, we went to Carmela's. Carmela's is I think they're called a cafe. Basically, what I would describe it as a hoagie place. You go there for hoagies, pastries, cold cuts, meats, whatever you want. And we always go there for lunch as a family. Our family always does it. And of course, we went there. And Kristen, who helped me organize it, her dad is Gino, Uncle Gino, which people all the way back to Wisconsin know Uncle Gino. And Uncle Gino is still alive and kicking. And still basically running Scranton. And he's a heavy hitter in Scranton. And go ahead.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Just a short little dude.
Yeah.
But kind of probably could have played a mafia guy in a movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Hands down. He just had that kind of his facial features, the way he talked. I mean, right out of Goodfellas.
100%. Well, we even walked in. And I'm not going to lie, I'm in my hometown, and we walk into Carmela's, and I'm thinking, I know Carmela's. Carmela's knows me. I'm going to sit wherever I want to sit. We sit at the back table, planning to put two tables together, and they're like, oh, that's reserved. And at first, I'm like, oh, shit, sorry. About to move. And my mom, Sandra, goes, who's it reserved for? And they go, Gino Arcuri. Yep. And we're like, oh, we're with him.
Yep. Absolutely.
No longer is it Bill Ferrario walking in. No. It's we're with Gino.
Yep.
So we sat down, we started the orders, and Gino came in. And now the biggest thing that I have to say to everybody in Wisconsin is Joe is officially a part of La Familia.
That's right.
Uncle Gino gave him a hug. Uncle Gino offered for him to come back whenever he wants. So
I was greeted.
So,
it was
yeah, Joe's part of the family.
Very honored to be able to attend that cafe experience. I felt like I was part of the group, and it was my first time meeting these people. Very warm, very welcoming, and had a blast. Busted your balls a lot, which I thought was hilarious. I mean, made me laugh.
And then you got Gene, the owner.
Yep.
So we got Gino, the uncle, that's sitting at our table. Then you got Gino, the owner, that's making the hoagies in the back. That Gino looked at you like you were a specimen walking in.
Hey, how tall are you? I'm like, hey, how much you weigh? I'm like, he's yelling it across the thing. I'm like, hey, whoa.
Yeah, a couple other people walked into the restaurant here. I don't need to be throwing numbers out here. Like, let me write it on the napkin.
Yeah, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah. But no, Gino has been awesome, or Gene has been awesome. Gene was a guy that quite a few years back, prior to COVID, right when I was getting into hunting, I wanted to learn other traditions for preparing meat. And Gene gave me, I believe it was his grandfather's recipe for homemade hot Italian sausage.
Oh, wow.
And I won't share it with anybody to this day, nor will I ever in the future. But
is that the one you have tattooed on your back?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the recipe I got on my back. But awesome recipe, just just homemade, authentic, tastes fresh. Oh. Everything about it's good. Good. Yeah, Gene's awesome at Carmela's and Carmela's. Yeah, I'm getting all the restaurants confused. Gene is awesome at Carmela's, and Carmela's hands down. We had the Carmela's extravaganza.
Yep.
That's the first sandwich I got when I went in there. And me and you were similar. Once you have one and it tastes awesome, I don't want to try anything else.
Yeah,
I know that's awesome. I don't want to try number 2.
I don't veer off.
When somebody's like, "Oh, but this is like the second best." Well, I don't want to try the second best. No. I want to stay with the best.
I agree.
And to me, the extravaganza is the best. Similar to, and I'm looking at my notes, Permani's with the fries on it. In Scranton, you can't have a hoagie without putting chips on it. And we got our chips. We put them on it. You got to have that crunch in the middle of the bread, the fresh meat, the mozzarella on it, all that, the vinegar, all of that on that sandwich. It all just comes together.
Well, they even brought out that meat tray with the pepper shooters.
Oh, my Lord. Those pepper shooters are unbelievable.
Holy cow.
Yes.
I was sharing because I was trying to be polite because it was my first time there, but
yeah,
I was...
those pepper shooters are the real deal. I think I don't know the type of pepper it is, but then it's got prosciutto on the inside.
What is it?
Prosciutto.
Okay, thank you.
Prosciutto.
Thank you.
Us Italians say prosciutto.
Yeah, because
we cut the last vowel off.
Yeah,
like mozzarella.
Yeah.
Prosciutto. But there's prosciutto inside the pepper. It's wrapped around something else. But the pepper shooters at Carmela's are unbelievable.
Phenomenal.
So then we'll bounce around a little with the Scranton trip. We went to my niece's softball game, Gianna.
Yep.
Gianna Tilinda, otherwise Tylenol.
Yep.
But we went to her softball game. She's doing awesome in softball, doing awesome in school. I just was informed that her team finished third in the playoffs. They finished with a bunch of wins at the end of the season, but finished third place. She ended up getting a bunch of hits, doing well in the batter's box, which I was happy about that. But we left one of her games early just because we were getting tired, sore, hot, all that stuff. And we're like, you know what? Let's grab a little pizza before we go meet them for ice cream.
Yes, we did.
So we stopped at Andy's. Andy's Pizza up in, I believe, don't quote me, people are going to yell at me, I think Blakely, but Andy's Pizza. And I told Joe, I go, hey, this is a very different type of pizza.
Yep.
It was extremely cheesy.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a cheese ooze. Like it was oozing out.
It was like a liquid cheese.
Liquid, yes.
I mean, it's not like almost
you
like a
picked
cheese
the slice
whiz.
up and just cheese was like pouring off the pizza.
Not cheese whiz, but it really, I mean, it was super.
Almost like, not a Velveeta, but similar to that, the way it acted on the pizza.
Correct.
Where it was just like liquid.
And that was something I've never had before experienced. Messy, trying to eat that in the truck in between.
That before we went to ice cream. Because we had to go to ice cream with the kids.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, of course. I forget the name of the ice cream place, but that was very good. It was on Main Ave up in, I want to say Oliphant by Genetti Manor. But so other pizza places we went to was...
In case you're wondering, We went to
a lot of
pizza places.
We had a lot of pizza.
That was our intention.
We took my mom out one night. We went down to Old Forge.
Oh, yeah.
And we went to Arcaro and Janelle's.
Yes.
Now, myself, for not being back home for so long, I assumed Arcaro and Janelle's was still a restaurant.
Yep.
Well, they closed down the restaurant due to COVID, all that stuff. They still had an outdoor patio. They still had a takeout place inside. So at that place, we ended up getting white pizza, I think white, plain, and sausage at that place. And Joe experienced a white for the first time, which is more of an East Coast deal with crust on bottom, top, like a oozy cheese in the middle.
I was impressed.
But no red sauce in that. I think there's a lot of cheese and like garlic in that pizza.
It was definitely a different experience from any pizza I've ever had before.
Yeah, and just a different town like that. And we talked about it. That was a town that Portnoy actually went to. And just all those pizza places. And it amazed me as a kid. But then more so after hearing Portnoy give his deal on whatever the slice deal he does, where he talked to an owner, and the owner's like, "Yeah, we ran out of milk the other day, and we just ran cheese. We ran across the street to the other pizza place." And he's like, "You went to your competitor?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're all family. Like not literally family, but we all help each other." And it was just amazing to me. It's like, people in that area love pizza, so you're not going to lose business, but it's one of those like everybody looks out for each other. Just reminding me of that old school mentality, the era we grew up in, and that people are still helping people out the way they should be. I mean, it's not like you're the guy that loaned the cheese. He got his money back the next day or next week, or his cheese back, whatever it was, and he didn't lose any business by doing that. But by doing that, he kept another business up and alive that night, and help them thrive moving forward. So
the one thing about the pizza at Old Forge, I thought it was phenomenal, and that was the first. It was the ground sausage on there,
correct,
and not something that I would have pictured in my head, but still, really
nor would I have. So
freaking good.
Once again, first time I ordered sausage, was not expecting it to look like that, but yes,
I feel like you really missed out. Like by not ordering sausage pizza. I mean, you lived there for 18 years and you don't order sausage. Like
I just didn't know.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but after a while, I felt like you were eating significantly amount of the sausage and not so much of the plain and the pepperoni. That I was ordering the sausage because like that's what I do. I'm just saying. So I feel as though you owe me some pizza.
You started turning me. I do. Yeah, I probably owe you a little bit after that.
A little bit.
Then the last pizza place to mention, which is my favorite, Maroni's Pizza. So Maroni's, I don't even know how to describe it. It's always been our family favorite. In my mind, it's always been the best. When I was 13, 14, and 15 years old, I played on a teen league team called Maroni's Pizza, their pizza place. One of my first, like when you make it big, you sign autographs and they hang them on the wall. That was the first place I ever gave an autograph to. I was like, I played on your teen league team. I want to give you an autograph picture, put it on the wall. I just love everything about Maroni's. The family that I knew, they sold it. Thank God they ran it long enough. They deserve to have some quality time with their family because pizza places, Italian pizza places or any good pizza place, they're working their balls off. They're up at 3, 4 in the morning making the dough, doing this and that. They're working until 10, 11 o'clock at night. So I'm glad that they got out. Hopefully they're enjoying their retirement, enjoying their grandkids, all that. And what was nice was, I believe, and I could be wrong, that it got sold to either a granddaughter or a niece of one of the owners that ended up buying the place. And it's still awesome pizza. Their brand it's a little bit of a thicker crust compared to Caloruso's, the first place we had, but it's a blended cheese on top, which is a little bit different than most other places in Scranton. And the cheese they leave it in the oven just long enough to get a little bit of a burnt on the cheese, a little char on the cheese, though, which is rare. Most people don't see that on the cheese, and it's just enough. And and even at Maroni's, we ordered sausage, which I thought I might get slapped just ordering it, and I didn't. And once again, phenomenal.
Yep.
And I'm not. Here's my argument. I love every pizza place in Scranton's plain cheese because that's the way I was raised. But there's places like when I remember the first place, my mom wanted something different. my mom was married to my dad for, I want to say 40 some years. 44 years, I believe.
Okay.
No, she was married longer than 44 years. But she probably had plain pizza for the first 36 years of her life. And all of a sudden, the pizza place started putting tomato slices on the pizza. And she's like, "Ooh, I want to try that." And we were all like, "Why are you not getting plain?" Like, what? It's plain or pepper? Like, we had an uproar with my mom. And she enjoyed it. And that was her, we had nights where we'd order from here, but we'd order her, a half a tray or whatever from here. And it worked out. But yeah, that pizza in Scranton, there's 100 places.
Give it to you. I'll give it to you. And here's the one thing I think we need to talk about too. You have pizza places in the weirdest places.
Yes.
What is going on?
The residential, yeah.
Okay, so he's like, "Yeah, we're going to this pizza place." I'm like, "All right." And we're driving through a residential area, and I'm going, there's houses all over the place. And I'm looking around here. I'm like, are we going to get to some sort of a business development of some sort? No. I think Maroney's was a house.
Yeah.
In the middle of the block.
Yeah. A block and a half down from a church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then when it just appeared, it was I couldn't believe that this was your pizza.
Thank you for listening to Joe and I today. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. If you like what you heard, please give 217 South Mills a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Go tell your friends about us. Like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube.
I'd like to thank Cabin Coffee Altoona for sponsoring us. Everything is always better at the cabin. See you next time. And remember, folks, Red has to run.